And I'm ready to start. It is June 23rd, Tuesday, and this is the Chase Carter Concept Podcast. I hope this finds everybody. I hate when people do that. I hope this podcast finds you and everybody you love well. Of course, that should go without saying. People don't say, I hope this podcast finds you in a terrible state of mind, wishing ill will upon everyone you know. But, so just talking about some news here. I want to talk about, I'm a huge stand-up fan, so Chris D'Elia got in trouble. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about NASCAR and the Bubba Watson thing, just the racism that's going on a little bit. I want to talk about video games, of course, sports, basketball mostly. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the whole racism. The whole start of this thing has been racism lately, but that's because people are being racist. So, NASCAR driver Bubba Watson found a noose in his garage, and this is after NASCAR as a sport banned the Confederate flag. And all of these people, all these racist people in the shadows, they're so dumb. How can you, this shows you how dumb you have to be racist. At this moment in time, do you think it would be smart to do anything racist? If you wanted to, hypothetically, if you were a racist person and you wanted your movement to live on, or your beliefs to move on, this is the wrong moment to do anything, because everyone is going to rally around him. What do you think was going to happen? You're going to put a noose up there and then he's just going to go away? What are you doing? How dumb? How many brain cells have you lost? Or maybe not had in the first place because your parents were related. You're so dumb and inconsiderate and mean and rude and just a vile person to do that to somebody. And if you're for racism, if you're for white supremacy, why are you're dumb. You're 100% dumb. Just for believing that. And then your strategy to go about racism is even more stupid. I wouldn't say even more stupid, because there's nothing more stupid than being racist, thinking you're better than somebody. And this guy's an elite NASCAR driver. He's better than you. I don't think he's an elite NASCAR, but he's an elite driver. He's one of the many drivers. He's an elite driver. I've never heard of him. Of course, I never really heard of any NASCAR driver. But it's so sad. You're going to unite everybody against the cause you're against. So why would you do that? What do you think all the other NASCAR drivers are going to go, yeah, we showed him, man, that noose was funny. Yuck. What is this? Like, what are you? It's 2020. I don't get that kind of mindset. Racism, first of all. And then the stupidity of but I think you have to be stupid to be racist. And then you're not going to be smart in this, I don't know, racist strategies that you employ. It blew my mind. It's just like cops that are unjustly shooting people right now. How, out of touch do you have to be right now? Before, I can kind of see it. Nobody was paying attention. This guy's getting a little rowdy. Pop, pop, pop. Whatever. And so, but how out of touch do you have to be right now? If you see an unarmed black guy, to shoot him right now. Technically, right now, they can do anything they want to you, the police officer, and you cannot shoot them right now, which is fine. I'm all for people being arrested without them dying, and also the police officer. If you don't pose an actual threat to the police officer, you just want to resist, they shouldn't be able to. If they have you handcuffed, sit down on the ground. They should be able to hog tie their legs, sit down and relax here. And then I don't know. But see, that's the thing. If they're all tied up, they could have anxiety. They could have some kind of, their blood's going and everything. Because they never work out a day in their life. Their bodies don't understand how to deal with blood being pumped through their veins at a high rate. So then they have a heart attack and die. Is that the police officer's fault, or is that your fault for getting arrested in the first place? If they calmly, arrest you, lay down on the ground, don't put any pressure on you, you die in the back seat, just sitting there. That's not the cop's fault. But man, it's been kind of crazy. Like how racist people are so stupid, so dumb. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about, it's what do I want to say about this? Bill Simmons finds himself playing defense. A podcast episode on recent protests increased staff complaints concerning the lack of diversity at his digital outlet, The Ringer. And it talks about a podcast he had entitled "A Truly Sad Week in America," because it is. And then it was him and Ryan Russillo, and in the podcast they even mentioned how ridiculous it is that these two white guys are talking about the civil liberties in the United States and the issues that's going on right now. And it was recorded as protests against racism and police violence were growing worldwide. Mr. Simmons talked about the movement with a frequent guest, the Ringer podcaster Ryan Russillo. After Mr. Russillo, who is white, spoke of what he described as quote-unquote looters who were breaking into sneaker shops, quote-unquote. Because there were looters. And he specifically separated protesters, and then you have some people looting who are just breaking into stores. So they're taking these quotes out of context, and this is from the New York Times. I don't get how you can misquote somebody this badly. And it's just, when I watch the Ringer and their podcast, I see black people, I see Indian people, I see multiple people of color, and they just pick the podcast where two white guys are talking just to talk crap about them. There's guys I listen to for like a year or two, and then I find out later that they're gay, and they talk about their boyfriend. They didn't even bring up, like, speaking of diversity, it's because it's not an issue. It shouldn't be brought up. I'm just listening to these podcasts. I'm not thinking about what color the person is. And this guy that I've been listening to, he does movie reviews. I can't remember his name. But I love his takes. It's weird that you can listen to someone for years and not remember their name. But I can distinctly remember the sound of his voice. Oh, the sound of his voice. Do you, Chase? Yeah, I do. But it's weird how it makes me not believe anything you like. Of course, you can't believe anything you read anymore, which is insane. Like, what's really true? And you go back and forth, and it just comes back to that. So you just believe whatever you believe, and then don't learn anything new, unless it's personal experience. But even then, personal experience can be flawed as well. I get beat up by a Mexican guy. Does that mean all Mexicans beat me up, and whatever? No, it's just that one asshole. So it's very interesting. And then you can't trust anything, because listen to this. FDA issues warning over certain hand sanitizers due to potentially toxic chemicals. So the things that are supposed to help you are actually killing you. That's awesome. I'm so happy that the hand sanitizers that are supposed to keep us away, keep us safe from COVID-19, is actually contaminating us. It has, the FDA has discovered methanol, a substance that can be toxic when absorbed through skin or ingestion, in samples of Lavar gel and Cleanup Care No Germ hand sanitizers, both produced by the Mexican company Biochem SA. So is that actually true? Or is that just this company, CNN, going after a Mexican-owned company? I don't know. And that's the sad thing, is you can take a news article, something in the news, and then turn it however you want. It's just terrible. Oh, and then Stephen A. Smith, going back to the Wallace's garage. What was his name? Forget his name now. The NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace. It's a great name. I wonder if that's his actual first name. But Stephen A. Smith is one of the only things I agree with Stephen A. Smith on. He commented on the news, said he commented on that act and said that the ignorance exposed exposed in the act of leaving a noose in Bubba Wass's Talladega garage will help America's desire to make positive change. And that's exactly what I said. It's going to unite people more than divide them. It's just so... First time in my life, I'm like, I think I'm going to get a gun. Things are going crazy. But has there always been civil unrest in society? Going back like 100 years, 200 years? If I were to go back 100 years from now, would I go, please take me back to 2020? Please take me back there. All right, in video game news, Mixer is shutting down and partnering with Facebook Gaming. So Mixer is owned by Microsoft. It's a streaming service. You can stream video games. They're just shutting it down after like 3 or 4 years of being in existence. So it's kind of strange that they're not. Maybe this has something to do with the coronavirus and they're just trying to save money somehow. So just kind of interesting. Because Microsoft had been doing well, but apparently not in the streaming service. Then I wondered if they had that kind of, with the original Xbox, if they had that kind of mentality with the original Xbox, Xbox wouldn't be a thing. Because they were going up against PlayStation and Nintendo. So I'm wondering if they're bailing out too soon. It says partnering with Facebook Gaming. It's like they're just giving up and then saying that they're partnering with Facebook Gaming. It's not Facebook and Microsoft present. It's nothing like that. I've just been kind of in a bum mood lately. I did a video, so I'm talking about sports. Even though I wasn't talking about sports, I was talking about video games. Well, video games and sports. Sports video game. I play NBA 2K20, and I wanted to do videos. I thought the other players on the team are obviously real people. But I wanted to do little like bios of like play a game, pick a player on my team or the opposite team, and do kind of like a bio about them, like learn about them, find out where they came from, like where they were born, their parents, how they became these athletes, professional athletes in the first place, their like trials and tribulations, their injuries, and like their seasons, how much they get paid every year. I'm always interested in athletes and the contract and the rookie scaling and all that. So on the Chicago Bulls, I had Zach LaVine. Right now, he's the best player on the team in real life. But he's not anymore in 2K because I'm on the Bulls now. But I did this. It was really cool how his father helped him, trained him. His father, Paul LaVine, he was like a pro, semi-pro football player, and he also played. I didn't know this existed. Professional softball as a man. The more you know, I guess. But he was like a uber athlete, but just not. He was right below that top level tier player. And then he had a construction job. He also had owned his own delivery business. And him and his wife kind of helped train Zach. And then Zach was he broke his hip in his junior year of high school, came back, had a really good senior year. He got 7 from his sophomore year, because in his high school he couldn't play varsity freshman year. There was a rule against it. So after his sophomore year, he got 7 D1 scholarships offers. And then he decided he got hurt his junior year, broke his hip, and then his senior year he played well, very well. And then he got drafted. I'm dumb. He went to UCLA. He'd start on the bench. I didn't know this. He was on the bench for the first year, and that was his only year. He only played 1 year in college. He was a freshman. He averaged 9 points a game. Very up and down. He'd have like 15, and then the next game he'd have 3. So he was all over the place. College. But coming off the bench is difficult. You're coming in the game different times. The teams need you to perform differently each time. It's not like you go in and score every time. We need you. Sometimes it's defense. Sometimes it's just facilitating. Hey, Zach, we're not doing this part of the game plan. We need you to go in there and emphasize this. So his numbers were all over the place. It was just kind of cool seeing that. And he gets drafted 13th overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Played his first 3 years there, coming on and off the bench. Ricky Rubio, because they put him at like a point guard position, and Ricky Rubio was a point guard. He's really a 2 guard because he's 6'6", 6'7". And so he came in off the bench. He was really good. Wasn't great. I think he had 10 points. It was like 10 points his first season, like 14, and then 15. So he's always improved points wise. Never defensively though. He never jumped up into the like steals per game or blocks per game. He's never had the high blocks per game, even though being that athletic you would think. But yeah, then he got injured his 3rd year, tore his ACL, and then got traded that offseason to the Bulls. And Bulls, he was a restricted free agent, went into free agency, and then the Sacramento Kings offered him an $80 million deal. It was like a 4-year, $80 million deal, and that broke down to, for the next 4 years, it was $19.5 million a year, which doesn't make any sense if it's $80 million. Well, 19.5. Well, no, because if it was 4 years, $80 million, it'd be $20 million a year. 20, 40, 60, 80. So why is it 19.5? Maybe some kind of taxes or something? I don't know. Or maybe the team that he was on gets $1 million. Maybe it'd be a $2 million discount. Because 19.5 4 times. That doesn't add up. I'm confused. Because 19, 20, 4. Oh, no, that does add up. No, wait. It's $80 million. I'm dumb. It doesn't matter. Anyways. Anyway. But it was just interesting hearing about his life and how his dad pushed him. His dad really never told him how good he was. He was always more negative because he never wanted Zach to think he was better than he was. So he just kept him grounded. And Zach never grew to resent that. People thought he would grow to resent his father in that instance. But he didn't. It was just really cool kind of learning about him. He has a website, and then he has there's a cool article Sam Smith wrote about him. Sam Smith is a journalist that covers the Chicago Bulls. He's covered him since Michael Jordan. And he wrote this cool article on him. And Zach LaVine's only 24 years old. If that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Seems like he's been playing for 10 years. It was cool going back and watching the highlights. Everyone has seen the dunk highlights. But it was cool going back and seeing. But a lot of his teams weren't successful. I think that's the only knock on him. He had these good seasons, but his team never performed. So you can say, is he a bad team, good stats guy? So I'm thinking, but he's only 24, so we don't know what he's going to become. His next 6 years to peak. And that's what I think the Bulls are betting on, is this uber athlete who can shoot, and let's see what this guy has while trying to put some other pieces around him. It's not a bad idea. Because they got him in the trade for Jimmy Butler. They got Lauri Markkanen. And I want to say Chris Dunn. I think it was Chris Dunn. For Jimmy Butler and this other guy. And just kind of cool to going back and seeing that. Sorry I couldn't have more detail. That one was off the top of my head. I have notes from these stories. But let's go back into video games. The EA Chief says EA Chief on PS5 and Xbox Series X. I love when these people come out and talk about the new video game consoles, and it's the same thing they've always said about every generational jump. Every single thing. It's the same thing I watch or I see when 2K comes out every year. You know that one thing that you didn't like about it? We improved it. We have new foot planting technology. Players won't ice skate on the court. Traveling won't happen unless they actually travel or whatever. The speed of the ball won't be slow in passes. You won't be able to throw full court passes accurately, and then it happens in the game. But this I think it's a woman, if I read it correctly. Now that next-gen consoles are on their way, game developers will be looking to pounce with new titles. The recent PS5 launch event saw some exciting games making their way to players. A day back, the EA Play Live event announced big news for the fans. EA will be bringing a new skate game. I'm excited for that one. New skate game along with their usual lineup, FIFA, Star Wars, and other RPGs. Yeah, Laura Miele, Miele, talks about the developer's plan. Laura explained how the next generation of EA games will undergo a visual change. No shit. The new Xbox Series X and PS5 are equipped with better hardware. Really? Thanks, Laura. Had no idea. And looks like the developers will be making the utmost use of it. Jeez. No. Yeah, the Xbox Series X has worse hardware. There's a visual leap, they said, of course, but we are also taking advantage of the extra memory. First of all, it's not extra memory. It's not extra. Because it's the same. It's terabyte. It's extra. It's the type of memory and the speed of the memory and the speed of the system able to access the information on that. CPU cycles to bring take advantage of extra memory and CPU cycles to bring a lot more detail to life. She takes the new NFL game as an example. You can say the new Madden game. Just say that. We know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. And says, every athlete, by the way, I'm being a dick just for comedic sake. I'm sure Laura's a very nice lady. Sorry. And let's see. Example, where was I? Oh yeah. It says every athlete in the game will play just as they do in real life with the date being updated in real time. So that's a typo. But every athlete playing exactly how they've said that from the beginning. The beginning. Players will come in and motion capture, at least for the NBA game. I don't know if they motion capture for Madden. But you will see players putting their certain quarterbacks, and there's only a handful, have their actual throws in there because they don't care about the backup quarterbacks. They get switched out so often. But furthermore, fans will have unique reactions in the NFL game. Of course, they should. They should have had that unique reactions. What? Just chance? That's it. Like do the fans do anything in the game? But like when they show close-ups of a real NFL game, they show fans going crazy. They should have that in the game. I remember they did that in NCAA football, and they would zoom in on the band, the band section, and they would do these different, and they would have different fight songs and stuff like that. I wish they would do that with the game, but not make it to where it's the same people but just different jerseys. So they show the Patriots fans, and it's the same white lady with blonde hair, and then the same guy next to him, and then the same other people this, and then exactly the same is for a different game, and then it shows the Minnesota Vikings, and it's the same exact lady but just a different shirt. It's just so easy. Just randomize. I don't know how games are built, but I'd imagine they have pieces for the fans, and you can swap out the different pieces. So have 10 different female heads of white ladies, 10 different, and then have them being pale white, and then have them be a little bit darker, 10 of those, and then dark, 10 of those, just for females. And then the hair, they can change the hair and then swap them out on everybody. And then the fans look all random. Have the shirts be different. Unless it's a playoff game where they're all wearing the same kind of shirt just for unity. I don't know why, because it's just confused. It's beyond. I don't know. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. I just like complaining. Okay, furthermore, fans will have unique reactions, and the weather will have an impact on players, equipment, and playing fields. Things that already exist now. In short, games will feel different visually. I hope so. I spend $400 or $500. I hope it feels differently. During my first demo, when I experienced the instant load times and massive worlds, I knew immediately this was going to set a new bar in terms of player expectations. Player you, not player football. When players see how accessible and immersive this generation of technology is, there will be no turning back. Why would we turn back? Why? Are we going to go back? You know what, guys? You know what? That Xbox Series X, not as good as the Xbox X, the last one. Let's go to older hardware. Let's do that. It says in all sense. It should be in all senses. In all sense, it says. In all sense, it looks. I said that way too many times. It looks like EA is finally listening to what fans want. How come they're always finally listening to what fans want? Come buy our stuff. We're finally listening to you. Why weren't you listening in the first place? EA has mostly been criticized for delivering the same content over the years, but now they are aiming at a new direction. No, they're going to do the same thing. If you're making a yearly product, you have less time to work on it, so the improvements aren't going to be that good. That's why you have like teams working on the little improvements, and then you have another team working on the big improvements that are going to skip the next game, and then hopefully for the year or two after that, that's when the big changes are going to come. To act like they're going to change the whole way they do business. You mean one of the biggest video game company in the world is going to change how they do business? I don't think so. They're going to pretend like it. Whatever they do that makes money, they're going to continue to do that. If your game sucks and it has microtransactions in it, people are going to complain. If it's good and it has microtransactions in it, like GTA Online, you're going to still play it because it's good. It's fun. It doesn't feel like you're ripping us off. That's what I don't understand. It's like, oh, our game has no microtransactions because those are bad. Well, your other 10 did. Your last 10 did. Now that it's a bad idea and you lost money from it, now you're changing up your tune and your business model. Don't act like you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Ugh. Yeah, microtransactions. Bad word. So we're not going to use that anymore because we want to sell more games. Yeah, no shit. And again, I'm being hostile for just going out on a limb here. Going out on a limb here. But man, that's annoying. I can't think. Oh, this one company, I invest in stocks a little bit. This one company, Wirecard, says missing $2 billion never existed. Stock is down 85% in 3 days. You know that money that we said was missing? Yeah, it never existed. And then there was this Chinese coffee company that I actually invested in. Like it was just $100 in it. It was $20 a share. I bought 5 shares. Yeah, that's how math works, Chase. I bought it, and then like 2 months later, they had their CFO or CEO was caught fabricating results, and so they said they sold this much, and they really didn't. So their stock is down to like $2.50. I lost all of my $100. I still kept it because maybe one day there'll be an actual good company, and then that'll rise back up. I may have bought more stock down at $2. Who knows? But it's just $100. So who gives a shit? Poor people do. People who aren't as privileged as you, who have no money, would care. $100 would go a long way. So I talked about that. EA no turning back. The Bill Simmons bullshit. Yeah. I think that's pretty... Oh, new NBA 2K20 information might have... 2K21, might have been leaked. We will leave it on this. Developers have focused on... This talk, I swear to Christ. You cannot make this up. This was on some... Instagram post. They listed 2K21 to buy, I believe. It was on like Amazon or something for a few hours, and people took screenshots of it. It says 2K21 is the new release of world-famous basketball sports game created by Visual Concept and 2K Sports and released in 2020. The developers have focused on revamping the entire gameplay experience. Oh, thank you for revamping. You revamped it? That one really great game that everybody loves? You're going to revamp? Oh, thanks. You're going to revamp it. Oh, I just hate this talk. 2K21 is rebuilt from the ground up and takes advantage of next-gen hardware. It's not revamped from the ground up. That means they had to start over from the beginning, which isn't a thing. It's beyond belief. 2K21 is the new release, the world famous, blah, 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 advantage next-gen hardware. Welcome to the next generation, it says. Just like in previous games of the series, 2K21, some of these quote-unquote rumor details are very interesting. I'll wrap it up. I've been talking for too long. 30 minutes is up. I'll wrap it up after this story. But just like in previous games, blah, 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 blah. In Harbor revamping each and every aspect of the 2K experience. Ooh, I'm so excited. There's a few details in here that are extremely exciting if they're true. So 2K21, for the first time ever, players get access to all 12 teams of WNBA Association. Yeah, the Women's National Basketball Association. But that's not true because the WNBA was in 2K20. So you can take that. And access to all 68 college teams in the NCAA. But there are more teams than 68. So I don't understand that either. The NCAA will be available in Play Now and My Career Path. The WNBA will be featured also in Play Now and fully featured My League. So that'll be cool for the girls who like to play video games. The series comes back with its main game mode, My Career, where we can create our own player with numerous options of customization depending on your preference. Oh, thanks. Customization options include a wide range of designer clothing, thousands of custom tattoos. That's false. Doesn't have thousands. I wouldn't even say hundreds of tattoos. So that's 97 all new haircuts. Finally, we have more than 4 haircut options. And unique power-ups. See, right then, unique power-ups. Does that sound like a person who's actually played the game or some unique power-ups? That doesn't sound... This is sounding more and more bullshit as I read it and think about it. At first, I was like, yeah, NCAA. But now as I read it more in detail and think about it, I don't think this is true. The game mode features... So why are you telling us? The game mode features an enriching storyline, which develops with the player's progression. It is worth to mention that My Career has been completely rebuilt. Oh my God! Look at all these things they're rebuilding for us. It's like what have they been doing before? Couldn't they have rebuilt all the things before? Oh wait, they said they rebuilt everything from the ground up. No, you didn't. Completely rebuilt. The main hub, the world it's called, is the player's gateway to experience with friends and the rest of the community. Affiliations are back. Choose between 5 robust affiliations and rep up your old 2K17 affiliation for an extra Gatorade boost in the world. And that's it. So they said affiliations are back. You can have like Rivet City Riders. They had some Miami Beach thing. I can't remember. But then people played that for 2 years, didn't like it, they took it out, and now they're putting it back in the game and saying that it's new. I hate when 2K does this. I hate when they have a cool feature for a year or two, then people bitch about it just because it's old. And then they take it out, and then they give us a new feature. Nobody likes that either, because online, nobody likes anything. Then they bring out the old feature and call it new again. Or just add another affiliate. Now, instead of 3, you can have 4 or 5 affiliations. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's me bitching on this Tuesday, June 23rd. Hope you guys liked the episode. If I'm complaining too much, let me know. If you're listening to this, you're probably a friend of mine. So give me a text. Write me on Instagram, Facebook. Let me know what you think. I appreciate anyone who listened to this, took time out of their busy day. You guys have a good one. Thanks.